Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Redington virtual sessions. In the month of June, we begin with Mimecast. We have a session on Mimecast where Ashraf will be taking you through the web security for remote workforces. In case you have any questions during the session, I would request you to put in all your queries in the Q&A tab, and Ashraf will address them towards the end of the session. Ashraf, over to you.
Thank you so much, Bindia. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashraf Mujawar. I'm a pre-sales engineer from Redington Gulf. Today's topic, specifically, we have chosen for web security for remote workforces. The product which we are going to discuss today is called Mimecast. So the solution is Mimecast Web Security. It's a very specifically chosen topic, looking at the current scenarios where everybody is forced to work from home, lockdowns are getting extended. Yeah, of course, we are trying to come back to the track, but of course, still, there are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of people are still working from home. They're working remotely, so that it was a perfect topic to be delivered. And of course, make you understand how we can give the access to the remote users, the employees, third-party vendors, and how can we even secure, provider security to the web. So let's start and try understanding a couple of points, couple of challenges, couple of information about what exactly we mean from providing the security. So if you see, emails are always the first point of attack when we talk about certain kind of which attackers follow. If you see the attack life cycle, the email will be always the first point of entry. 92% types of attacks which starts with an phishing emails. So that is something which we have to really looking at it. We also need to understand email. With the help of an email, we normally get entry to the organization, but the attackers, they mainly use even the web perspective from a DNS in order to accomplish their missions. What do you mean by that? So with the help of a web, they will be able to establish certain kind of attacks like a command and control in order to gain the access to the entire system. So the email will be the very important part which gives you the first point of entry, and web follows it with the second factor of an attack, which basically help you to gain the entire system to the attackers. Of course, with the help of these two, attackers can easily be able to compromise or start the initial attack in order to compromise the customer environment. So the 99% of malware, it can easily be deployed using the email plus web. So let's try to understand the challenges. Okay, with looking at the current scenario where the risks for the web which is getting exposed, many existing defenses are simply not up to the job, right? The organizations use a variety of defenses measures like firewalls, web proxies, on-premise web gateways, but they're still trying to struggle to implement the best tactics to provide the proper defenses. And even if you see while deploying this kind of things, it always are very complex, and of course very complicated, and of course those are very, very expensive as well. Network-based protection might work when employees is on site, but what happened when the users are working from home, or maybe working from the client sites, or maybe from the coffee shops or something like that. So something which is very important to understand what kind of challenges which we are facing. A very important point to also understand, web security often sits as a silos. It's very important that we should, whatever the solution which we are using, for example, the most important part we're talking about is the email security. We're talking about how do we provide control on the web kind of attacks. How can we make sure that these two solutions can communicate to each other in order to give the better security, in order to give the better visibility of the attack? That is something is very, very important. So web security has to be, communicating to different kind of solution in order to get best of the results. Uh, the DNS layer is a very important, the most of the attacks. If we talk about web security, the DNS will be the first topic to discuss. The most of the web security, they use the DNS layers of attack, DNS kind of attacks in order to, do the compromise. Hope is not the solution. Hope is not actually the strategy for today. Employees are definitely going to click on the links. We have to make sure that we build a proper system in place so that we'll be able to understand how what are the links the employee normally clicks. So basically we need to understand the behaviors of the employees, and we also need to provide a proper security in place so that this kind of the people, the employees who are not aware about the security, those will be not be able to compromise our network. And of course, the compliance risks are very high. Enforcing acceptable web use policies are very, very difficult also. Let's understand what can be the consequences if we do not implement a proper security. What would be the consequences we are talking about it? Of course, the very important consequences when the attack is successful, what is going to happen? The customer is going to lose their data. Customer, once they lose the data, there will be a chances that the competition has got that data, where it gives a huge impact on their revenues. It definitely damaged their reputation in the market. Because of the attacks, the resources are not available, so that it becomes it gives a lot of impact on the productivity. So that if an employee does not have a resources to use, they will not be able to work productively. And of course, we also have the compliance fines and the legal fees and the cleanups cost are available, right? So we have to make sure that we should be implementing a proper solutions in place. And the very important part to understand, once the compromise happened, in order to react to it, in order to rebuild the system, is going to take a month. It's a very longer process, so we need to have a proper security in places. So what we are basically telling you today, we are basically asking you to combine the two values together. Secure your email as well as the web. We are definitely talking about web in more specifically, because if you know the brief about a Mimecast is mainly known as an email security solution. It is a very popular email security solution, through which they are also coming as a web security in order to control that the first layer and the second layer of an attack, which is very commonly known as. So we are providing the value using the email and the web together. What exactly we are trying to achieve here is, we are trying to achieve the consistency in the protection. We are giving you a shared intelligence, because as you already knows, email security from Mimecast, it has been deployed by so many customers all over the world. So whatever kind of attack which is getting detected, that information about those attack, the metadata of those specific kind of attacks, information, the strategy behind that attack is this information already shared in the central database, right? It has so basically, with the help of that information, and web security will be able to take that shared intelligence and will be able to provide the good protections from both of the worlds. We try to keep it a simple management. So with the single administration console, you will be able to manage the email plus web together. We can have the integrations, for which can apply to both email and web. We can have the user roles and permission can be applied from a same console itself. So basically, we are giving you the one vendor, one bill, and one support route. So with the help of one vendor, one solution, one portal, you'll be able to implement two different solutions very efficiently. So let's talk about what are the 4 key points Mimecast Web Security basically providing you. First of all, we are completely 100% cloud-driven technology. So we are completely in the cloud. We basically provide you the best as the solutions in order to provide the proactive defenses. We also provide you the best solution in order for the employees to implement acceptable web usage policies. we don't want to only protect employees which is working inside the organization. We also want our employees should be protected whenever they are roaming. So we are considering both the factors. Of course, we also need to understand what these users are currently doing and how can we provide a better security or a better how can we get a better visibility. This is the 4 factors which we're going to talk about today. Let's talk about the proactive defense. So we basically provide a proactive defense using security and monitoring at the DNS level. Okay, we basically blocks the website that deliver the malwares as a part of a phishing attack. We inspect the file downloads. Okay, so any kind of files which is getting downloaded by the web, maybe a Java by downloads, we'll be inspecting that, and any kind of files which is claimed to be a malicious will be not allowed to come inside the organization, which is very, very important, right? Integrated with the Mimecast targeted threat protection, of course, this is going to add additional security to it. We have the combined threat intelligence for the web and email, and of course, we are tackling with all kind of emerging threats, right? If you talk about acceptable use, of course, we can. It's very easy to define the policy-wise. How can we make sure that we define the acceptable web usage policies? Like if you want to set up a policies in our web solution, of course, it's a wizard-driven. So you can easily run through the wizard and you can easily deploy a solution. We can define the comprehensively the web categories. We can also define the exceptions for the certain networks, groups, or specific users. That's what we talk about it. We do provide anywhere protection. So the users who's roaming around, we can have the single lightweighted agent installed on those users' computer, and whenever the user roam around, they will be able to protected on the go. When they're inside the organization, we can always make a use of a DNS gateway layer, DNS gateway level security, so that the employees who's on premises will be always get secure, and employees who's roaming around should also be get secure. That is the whole aim about the web security which we are providing. Of course, the visibility, we get a complete visibility from this product. We have a dashboards where we can access the top 10 access domains. We can access, we can see the top 10 categories which has been accessible by the employees, block domains, the block by the site categories, the DNS requests are coming. It also helps us to provide a full auditing capability to the system access events and the policy creation and the changes. We can also access the historical web access audit logs, which can be also exported to the .csv files, which can definitely be useful whenever you want to create any kind of reports, send it to the management, understand the visibility. This is going to add a real value to it. Let's try to quickly understand how it works. It's a very simple solution. First of all, easily deployed. So first of all, it's a cloud-based, so you don't need to have any servers in your on premises. You just need to have your internet gateways communicating to your Mimecast web security. In case of these are the office users who never roams around, and the offsite users who always are roaming around, they can use the agent to communicate to the web security. And my Mimecast web security is going to define the policies, and this is going to basically allow or block the certain contents. So it's a very simple solution from a deployment perspective. In fact, if you want to deploy it, we can easily deploy the solution in I would say in another 1 or 2 days. It depends, how large is the infrastructure is. Let's quickly understand the inspection system. So basically a small packet flow, which we are trying to show it to you here. And of course, it start from the exception bypass, the trusted domain, including the internal local domain. Of course, this is something which we need to understand. We need to understand like which is my trusted domain. Since like my internal domain, definitely I will be making an exception to those. And of course, if you want, I can provide some block listing and allow policies, which is a basic thing which we normally do from the web security perspective. We can also have the targeted threat protection, okay, for the managed URLs, okay, like a domain and URL defined in the targeted threat protections or emails. We can also do that. Newly observed domains. This is something very important. There are a lot of kind of attacks which is happening. like an impersonation kind of attack. We need to understand, like, if somebody's trying to send an email, is it a newly registered domain? Because there are a lot of attacks where the attackers, they create a temporary domain which is a similar domain, okay, and with those domains, basically they try to send an email or try to send information to the internal network. And because for human eyes, it sees like this specific domain, it's identifiable, from the understanding. It basically just user goes and clicks it. So our solution also identify, is there any kind of newly observed domains are getting created, and based on which, if those are those kind of domains which kind of having any kind of malicious activities which is getting generated, will be completely blocking that as well. We can do the category wise filtering, so you can have the you can make a use of that acceptable use policy, the slide which we covered. So you can run the wizard, you can have the categories based blocking, and of course you can define this here, there, and we'll be also able to get the reports from the auditing section there. We also give you the protection against the domain similarity check. This is a very, very important type, checking the impersonation base of attack. As you can see, the protect the impersonation attack. This is something very similar, where somebody is trying to send an email, and the domain looks like identifiable. The domain looks like a similar domains. Those kind of domains will be completely identified by the Mimecast web security, and it will be blocked. It will not be allowed to receive any kind of information from that specific domains. And of course, at last, we also check the antivirus scanning. We make a use of a multiple engines of a data. Of course, Mimecast have their own engine, and of course, we also depend upon the current different antivirus engines. We do the proxy, the traffic, and we scan the complete site. The file which is getting downloaded from the scan, and then based on the reputation, based on the the file information, we basically blocks it. That's how basically the web security inspection system works. So it always starts with an exceptions. Like internally, I will just exclude my domain. I'll just define some policies. I'll put some securities, like to block certain kind of targeted threat protection, like a manage URLs. I will also put the protection for the newly observed domains. I will also put the category filtering. I will also put the secure policies for the domain security checks. I'll also keep the policies for antivirus. With the help of all those things, we'll be able to achieve the web security. So whenever a request comes in, he has to pass from this specific packet flow, and it will be blocked whenever it matches a certain criteria. So of course, you are fully accountable. Our customers can go ahead and go for the 30 days web security service which Mimecast is providing. Okay, Mimecast is providing. They can just contact us, and we can connect with them to the Mimecast. If any customer wanted to see this thing, we can easily use it. The best customers, if it is a partners, the best customers or the customers who's currently listening to my session, if you guys already have the Mimecast, which is going to give you the better understanding of the solution, it's give you the better visibility and give you the better security for your email plus web together. That's it from my side. I wanted to keep it a very short session. Of course, if you guys are interested, we can have a deep dive session about more product. We can have a small demo if you want, if you have some request or something. If you want to go for a certain kind of evaluate a product, I'm there. I'm a pre-sales. I'm from Redington. We are the validated distributors, and from the sales inquiries, you can always reach to my colleague Vishal Zariwala at redingtongov.com. So that's it from my side for today. If you guys have any specific questions, I can take it up. And of course, if you want to understand more, we can always have a one-to-one session with if you are a partner, of course, together with you guys, or maybe for customers, we can have it directly with the customer.
Thank you, Ashraf. Looks like we don't have any questions from the audience. Again, thanks to everyone for making time and joining the session. We have few more sessions lined up for the month of June, and we will be sharing all the invites with you. So we'd request you to please register for any sessions you would find informative from Redington, and would request you to please attend all these sessions. Thanks again, Ashraf, and I hope all of you have a great evening ahead.